today I'm going to show you how you can make a chat system that requires no microphone at all. It's all using a single signal remote item, which the player has in their role part. And they can cycle through a set of pre-coded messages, and they can also, of course, display those messages above the player's head using the new player marker device. So I've started the game over here, and I'm gonna press this button to give myself the signal remote device. And when I use the right mouse click using the signal remote, I can cycle through all the pre-coded messages. So let's say here lol, and then we can press the left mouse button to display the actual message. And now all players in your lobby will see like a player marker above your head with the text lol. So we can also say question mark followed by GG. So let me show you how it looks like from the other player's perspective. So I'm gonna say over here, from here. So I'm going to this player. Let me just say heart. And then I'm gonna say, let me just select. So for example, if you have an imposter mode, you can, for example, say he is imposter with like a pointer VFX, pointing to the player. The VFX is not really pointing directly to me, but it's kind of pointing upwards, but that's like the best we can do here in creative. So yeah, you can say someone is sus or imposter. And then I can say, for example, no, I'm not the imposter. Then I can cycle here to messages, yes, and I say no, I'm not the imposter. And then yeah, that's the system. So let's get right into building this system right now. Okay, so for this tutorial we're gonna need a play marker, a switch, HUD clock button, a item granter, and the signal remote manager. So let's start with the simplest thing, which is the button, followed by the item granter to grant ourselves the signal remote, which is going to be managed by this remote over here. Then we can pick any of these colors, so I'm just going to pick the gold one. I'm going to put one inside the item granter and the other one inside this signal remote manager. I'm going to name this item remote 1, and gonna name this signal remote manager 1. By the way, I to name the devices I use Roman letters like this, if you didn't notice already. So this will be 1, and this over here. On top. With the button, we add an event. When pressed, we go to the item granter and we grant the item. We're gonna go into the item granter then, and we set the on grant action to keep all, and everything else as it is. And for the signal remote, we're gonna set the cooldown to 1 second. Now this whole system simply gives you the signal remote, which is managed by the remote manager. Now we're gonna go into the messages. So for this tutorial, I'm gonna use 5 messages. So let's just start with the first one over here. First, you're gonna place down your switch. You're gonna go into the settings of the switch and set the initial state to on here. Sound disable. Interact time, do not interact. We only interact with this device via events and channels and stuff like that. Check state at game start, we disable that. And I think that's all. Oh, one more thing, we use persistence and we store the state per player. And if you want to, which is not necessary, you can also auto-save and auto-load. So it will remember which message you have selected previously in the previous game. This is not necessary, but if you want it, you can turn it on. So again, these are the settings. Okay. Then I'm gonna name this switch message 1 followed by a player marker, a timer device. Just gonna resize them a little bit, and the HUD message. And these are 4 devices you'll need to display just one single message. And in a bit we're all gonna copy this over for the next message, and etc. etc. So let me just place them like that. Okay, I'm gonna rename these devices to player marker for a message number 1, HUD message 1, MSG stands for message, by the way, and timer message 1. It's very convenient to name your devices, so it'll be easier to find them when you go into your events and you want to add a function. So make sure to name all your devices with their own unique name. Very important. So now we're gonna go and choose a message we want on the display. So let's say for now, what I normally do is use all sort of weird characters like this. But for this tutorial, I'm just gonna keep it simple and do not do that for this one. I'm just gonna select yes for my first message. Gonna put the time for mount start to off, display it for 3 seconds, and sound will be no sound, with message priority to priority, and top placement. Message recipients, triggering player. So again, these are all the settings I changed for message 1. This will not actually show the message to all the players. They will just display what message you currently select in a set of messages using your second remote, and will display for 3 seconds only on your screen. So yeah, now we go into the player marker, and we're gonna show the icon up arrow for message yes. It's the most logical thing to me. The up arrow, and we're gonna make it green. So yeah, that's the best we can do with yes, I think. And let's see, over here we're gonna put the text yes. So again, here's all the settings I changed. Then for the timer, we're gonna put the time to, this is really up to you, but I'm gonna go for 5 seconds. You can go for 10 seconds, you can go for 2 seconds, but I think 5 seconds is the best. And we're gonna go over here, timer running text. We're gonna set it to, for now, just a simple yes. So this is also only visible for the player and not for everyone else. Because the way player markers work is, if you have a player marker above your head, you as a person cannot see your own marker. Only other players can see them. So that's why we display a timer on the player above the player's head, so they can still see their own message. If that makes sense. So this applies to only the player, and for all the other options, we just do audio effects off, and here we use an empty instigator if the instigating player is not present. So these are all the things I changed again. Now we're gonna get into the events and functions. So we wanna check the state over here in the events. No, yeah, here, check state. We're gonna add the device, which is a remote manager, number 1, on primary activation. Yeah. Then we're gonna check the state. Oh, actually, I put it in the wrong category. This is safe state. Over here, check state, remote manager, and primary activation. Let me check if it's all good. Yup. So now I'm checking the state, and then over here, if it's on when I check it, I'm gonna do 3 things. I'm gonna show the preview. Am I gonna show this one? No, I'm not gonna show the HUD. I'm gonna show the timer. So I'm gonna start it for the player, and I'm gonna attach the player marker. message 1 to the player as well. So I think it's only 2 things, I believe. I guess, yeah, I think that makes sense. And then I'm gonna go into my timer. So when this timer runs out, it will go to the player marker and detach it from the player. Like that. So let me see if this all works now before we move on to the next part. Press the button to get the second remote, left click, and you'll see yes. And you can't see it now, you can't see a player marker above my head, but if you want to test this, get another player in your party and see if you can actually see that player marker. And yeah, right click currently does not do anything. Also, I made a small mistake here, so let's just fix that. That timer should reset back to 5 seconds after it's finished. I just forgot a setting on it. So we're gonna go back into the player, the counter. And here, instead of stop, we reset it. Very important setting. Okay, now let's move on. Now for the next part, we're gonna add more messages. So I'm gonna add 2 messages. And to do that, we get started over here and we turn this switch off when we use a signal remote manager and primary fire, secondary fire. So when we right click with the mouse using the signal remote, it will turn this switch off. Now for the next message, I'm gonna start with the HUD, which is gonna display the message no. So this is message 2, I'm gonna display no. This is just a preview. By the way, I'm gonna add here selected text. So this is what the player is currently selected. Yeah. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy all of this over. Or actually first, I'm gonna go over here and do where is that thing on turn off? I'm gonna show that preview message, which is right over here. HUD message 2. I'm gonna show it. Now we're gonna select these 4 things. So this one, and this HUD. I'm gonna copy it over. Gonna go right into my 3rd message over here, which will be hey. Okay. Gonna rename all of these devices. Message to message 2. Using the Roman letter numbers. And then for this switch, I'm gonna set it to off. And let me just check if everything copied over normally. Yup. Okay. Okay. Now, when we turn this switch off, we want to turn this one on. So we're gonna go into turn off. Add the switch. Message 2, and we're gonna turn this one on. Like that. And then over here, let me just check if everything's alright. Yup. Okay, now we're gonna show the message no over here. No. We're gonna make this red. I'm gonna put the downwards arrow. This is all set up. And then over here we say no. Let me just quickly test if this works now. So get the remote, and if we use left click, we show yes. If you use right click, we currently have selected the no message, and then when we left click, we will say no. Okay, so that all works. Now what we do, now that we know that this works, we simply do it again, copy all of these things, and because we need 4 messages, I'm just gonna do it 2 more times, and now we'll have 4 messages. So this one was hey. I'm gonna name this A with a end. Hey. I'm gonna go over here and gonna rename this device to message tree with running text. Hey. I'm gonna also rename this message tree. This is already set the message tree. This is switch number 3. This is number 4. Layer marker number 4, and over here I'm gonna show what message should I show. I'm just gonna go for a heart emoji. So over here the heart, gonna put it to pink, and we're gonna have no marker text, so we're gonna just use a space bar. And then over here, the preview message. It's gonna be a heart. And this timer, message 4, is showing a heart. Okay. Now, what we do is, let me just check if this all is correct. Okay. So what we're gonna do is this one turns on if this one turns off. So we're gonna do the same for this one. If we turn it on with switch number 2, if I can find it, switch number 2, when it turns off, just like this one. Over here it's set to message 1, so this is message 2, and this is gonna be message 3. Delete this one, gonna set it to message 3, and then on turned off. Like that. Okay. Let me just check if the function is also set up correctly. So this goes into message 3, message 4, okay, that's all working. Let me just check to be sure. Okay. Let's see. Now we're gonna go into our first switch, and if on when checked, we're gonna go to our previous player marker, which is, for the first one, it's the last one. It's kind of tricky. So we're gonna find our final player marker, which is number 4, and we're gonna complete. Oh, actually, sorry, I meant the timer. So we go to our last timer, timer number 4. And we're gonna complete it. For this one, we're gonna complete the previous timer, so that one over there. So this is timer 1. So if on when checked, we go into timer message 1 and we complete it. Oh, no reset, I complete it. Okay, and then for this one, if on when checked, we complete timer 2. Timer 2 complete. And for this one, we use timer 3. Timer 3. Okay, next up we're gonna delete our first HD message. Actually, just gonna copy this one over here. Gonna name this message 1, which is being turned on by switch 4, and this was our yes message. Okay, and I just noticed that I forgot one thing over here. So on turn off, we need to also turn on a switch. So the next switch will turn on, which is the first switch for the last one. So on turn off, we're gonna go into the switch number 1. Since this is the last switch in our sequence, we're gonna turn back on the first switch. Just like that. And now let's try this out. Start the game. Get ourselves the signal remote. And as you can see, we can cycle through the messages. We can say hey. Go to the next message. And then it will loop back to the first message because we just changed that setting. We can say yes. Okay. Now I'm gonna add some extra things. So as you notice, this remote is a little bit slow. There's like a little bit of a delay on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a second remote into the game. So over here, let me just copy this over. Maybe it's actually better to start. Yeah, just copy it over. We make sure we don't grant this with a button. Just remove that for now. We're gonna put in a different color remote. Then over here, we're gonna just copy this over. We're gonna clear the items with the gear over here. And we're gonna put in a purple remote over here as well. Then what we're gonna need in addition is the item remover device. So get that into our hotbar. So over here. And we're gonna remove the item. Remotes. So when we interact with this, let me just quickly rename these devices. Remover 1, Manager 2, Item Granter 2. So we're gonna remove these signal remotes when we interact with the signal remotes. Go into remover, item remover. Gonna remove the item. Then over here on second amplifier, we also do the same thing. We go find the remove. We're gonna remove it, just like so. Okay. And also what we're gonna do in addition, we're gonna add another event, and we grant item granter. We're gonna give ourselves the second remote, the purple one. Grant item, and over here, item remote number 2. We're gonna give it to ourselves. Okay, and now we just copy this on over. In this one, we're gonna put the purple remote. We'll do the exact same thing. This is item remover number 2. And then over here, the same thing. So remover, number 2, remove, also over here, remove, number 2, remove, and then over here we grant the new one, item, the first remote, we give it, and also on primary, or I mean secondary fire, we search for item again and get ourselves the first remote item. So that system was optional. If you don't want it, you don't have to make it. But let me just quickly show you what it does. It really a little bit speeds up the mechanic. So when I press the remote, I can instantly press it again instead of having to wait a full second. Yeah, that's all there is to it. If you want to, you can even add VFX. Let me quickly show you how you do that. So if you get a VFX device creator thingy, you can go over here. If you check this switch, you're gonna go into the VFX creator. You're gonna start spawn at player, and you're gonna also spawn it at the start it at the player. Just start at player, and then yeah, let's see. When do we remove this VFX? I guess when the timer runs out. So on success, we're gonna go into the VFX, and we're gonna stop the effect at the player, I believe. Okay, now for the VFX, just quickly go into the settings. We're gonna take this to the body part. We're gonna put the weapon, for example. Gonna put the spawn zone shape to point. Loop duration 1 second. Time between loops 0. That generation amount 25. Turn off the gravity and the randomness, and we're gonna choose a color, red, a pointing thingy, and a sprite set of 2, and I believe almost sprite rotation. It's gonna be speed, like that. Let me just quickly see if this works. Kinda scared that it doesn't work. So press the button. Cycle to our art message. Now it will shoot all these arrows out of your body, until you go to a different message. So here, and then display yes, and it's shoot stop. Yep, there you go. It stops the VFX. So now you have like a pointer thingy for the art message. So yeah. So now let's see this in action. I'm gonna go on my phone and I'm just gonna press a message over here. So this is yes. Gonna cycle to the next one, which is no. And then I'm gonna say no as well. And then I can say, for example, the next message, which is hey. And I don't know why the question mark's on the next line, but that's the whole system. And I hope this helped you make your own system. It was really complicated, but I hope you'll manage to find it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.